All right, so this is episode one. I want to go contract by contract. I started travel nursing in October of 2020. And at the time, the hospital that I was staff at, it was a small med surg tele unit. They started laying us off because of COVID. A lot of our patients were post-op patients, so they needed to have surgery in order to be admitted. So I didn't see a lot of patients during that time because surgeries were canceled for COVID. Nobody knew what was going on. So um, that's when I decided to travel nurse. And at the time, I had a partner who was also a med surg tele nurse. And we went out to Oregon. We went to Springfield, Oregon. It's right next to Eugene at a place called PeaceHealth. It was the Riverbend location. Very exciting to start. Um, at the time during my staff job, I think I wasn't saving much, but at the time it felt like a lot. I want to say only maybe $1,000 a month. I was paying off a car, I was paying my student loans, and so I wasn't really saving much at my staff job before I started travel nursing. So um, but this savings that I did manage to save kind of got me uh, into investing. So I started buying like penny stocks and stuff like that. And I kind of hit it big once on a penny stock, and I saw the power of investing, and it kind of just put me down this rabbit hole of swing trading and day trading and investing in general. So at that time, before I went to Oregon as a travel nurse, I was very um, into investing. I know I wanted to invest everything that I could save. So that's kind of the mindset that I went into Oregon with. And at the time, I also started getting into fitness. So it was like all of these worlds converging. It was travel nursing, investing, and working out. All of these things kind of started in 2020. And so it was a very exciting year. I was very excited to get started. The first experience of travel nursing for me was incredible. I had a manager that was basically right there holding our hands while we started because we weren't sure what to expect at the time, how it all worked, but they were very laid back. And we were basically working on a COVID unit at PeaceHealth. So, um, a little bit into the details of this contract. So, I think at the time it was paying maybe I want to say it was like $2,200 a week, which is like actually, you know, quite similar to what you see right now. I don't take contracts that pay that low right now, just because it is very low, considering that I was getting paid that during COVID, October 2020 in Oregon. So the the pay I thought at the time was really good. I mean, I was making two, four, six, eight, almost $9,000 a month as a new travel nurse, and that was about double what I was making as a staff nurse during the same time period. So I was saving a considerable amount more, maybe like 4 grand a month, which opened up all of these investment opportunities, and I was kind of putting my money everywhere and anywhere. I didn't really do any diligence. I just saw something that I liked and I put my savings into it. I ended up losing most of it after the COVID bubble popped. So saving a lot, getting a lot of gains, and then losing them all. And I'll get more into that during the next video. The next two videos is when the market sort of took a downturn from all of the money that I made on this first initial travel nursing contract. So it's been a roller coaster. It continues to be a roller coaster. I'm very high risk. I think that you should invest your money into high risk assets and take a chance of making it, because the end product is the same. You know, most people work till they're 60, 65. They retire comfortable enough, and they go on and everybody dies. So it's why not take a chance? I don't have a lot of dependents. I don't have any dependents. I don't have any pets. I don't have any kids. I don't have a girlfriend. So it's very easy for me to say that. Of course, as somebody who has people in their lives that they need to support, maybe it's not the best idea to go into high risk assets, high risk AI, tech stocks, or crypto, stuff like that. So just understand where you are in your life and what risk you're willing to take. What are you willing to lose in order, and what's the upside? What's the upside versus what can you lose? What's the worst possible scenario? I always tell myself the worst possible scenario is I die. So if I lose $20,000, it doesn't really bother me much. Most people it would bother. Does not bother me. So, anyways, this is when I started getting into like silly, really silly investments, really, really speculative, high risk assets. And in a couple more episodes, you'll see I lost most of it. Um, and so that was a huge learning opportunity, and I took it. So, um, saving more than ever. The hospital was awesome. A lot of times they wouldn't even have us come into work, they would just pay us COVID relief paychecks. I mean, I would get my full paycheck without working a shift. That's kind of that was the state of nursing when COVID came around. There was just so much money to go around the system, so many government assistance programs, and hospitals were just paying for literally no work. I would sit at home a lot of the days, maybe once, maybe twice a month. I would have a shift, where I wouldn't have to work and I'd get full compensation. A lot of times they would have me sit in the ED or with a psych patient, and I was just sitting there collecting my paychecks, watching a patient. So, really good time to be in nursing. Obviously, dealing with the whole COVID pandemic was very frustrating. I thought there was quite the amount of silly rules and new guidelines, and you were forced to take a vaccination. I thought all that was kind of nonsense at the time, but we all made it through, and it was tough. To work in a COVID unit was tough. Um, saw a lot of things, a lot of death, a lot of heartache, and stuff like that. So, great experience regardless. I worked at PeaceHealth Riverbend for 6 months, and I learned a lot. I got into a gym routine, and my at the time it was just strictly working out. There wasn't any diet considerations. I still ate the same. It wasn't the best diet. I still slept the same. I wasn't sleeping. I didn't really care about how much sleep I was getting, stuff like that. So, uh, it was a great learning experience, and it got me on both the investing journey and on the workout journey. Taking care of your health. So, um, I want to say maybe maybe 4 grand a month is what it cost me to live during that time. And at the time, we were getting those stimulus checks. We were getting paid well as nurses. It was a very, very abundant time to be in travel nursing. So, uh, and you'll see as I release more of these videos, I'll even show my spreadsheets. I have data all the way back into, I believe, 2022, maybe 2023. I have every single penny that I've spent and where I spent it, and you can see how the inflation really ups your monthly expenses. So I can share that with you guys on some future episodes, and you'll see also my take home pay for each year and each contract and how that's kind of, it fell after 2020 and it kind of just stagnated. I believe, the average contract right now, at least for med surge tele nurses, which is what I work, maybe you'll see a couple 2,850 or $2,900 a week for a contract, but it's rare and they're hard to find. So most of them, I would guess, most take home MS tele contracts are probably, you'll probably take home anywhere from 2,000 to 2,200 a week, and that's for 36 hours on a day shift. So consider that as well. Usually when I talk these numbers, it's always 36-hour contracts, and most of them are, almost all of them are days. I took two contracts that were nights, or days nights rotating. So consider that in these videos that it is 36 hours. I don't want to work that extra shift. I don't think there's any real point in signing a 4-day work week contract. It's just, you can always, usually if the hospital needs that much help, they'll allow their travelers to pick up. Then you get your overtime rate on that fourth shift if you want to pick it up. Most of the time, I can do 3 days. I don't want to spend any more time at the hospital than I need to. So both considerations. 36 hours day shift, med surge tele. This is kind of what I'm covering. Um, and other things about the assignment I can cover. Like the trip out to Oregon was really exciting at the time. I was with my partner. We drove out there. We saw all the states that we drove through from Wisconsin. We got there and doubled our money. It was just it's everything seemed too good to be real, and it was so much fun that first contract. I'll never forget. So I hope this encourages some of you to consider travel nursing. I know there's a lot of new grad nurses. There's a lot of nurses that are getting out of school and they might have 1 year of experience, 2 years of experience, and they're in the perfect position to do travel nursing. I don't think there's any reason not to consider it. If you have pets, if you have kids, okay, it makes it a little more difficult. I've seen travel nurses bring their family with, one of the partner does the remote work. They bring their pets, they bring their kids, they find daycare. It's totally doable. It's just a matter of, like, are you willing to take that leap, that first step to hit the road and just do it? So a lot of variables and question marks when you first start. I had so many, you know, I remember putting in so much work for this first contract. I was mapping out how I would get there, what time I would get to this hotel, what time I would hit the road the next day, what breweries I wanted to hit along the way, stuff like that. I had all of this stuff planned out. And now 13 contracts in, 14, 15 contracts in, I just, it's just very spontaneous. The contract ends, hit the road. It always works out. The hospital's legit. You get there, they have a job, they actually have a job for you. There's housing somewhere. You'll find a house somewhere, whether it be a room or an apartment, or you're living with a friend. It always seems to work out. But nothing will quite compare to the way it was on the first contract, especially driving all the way out to the coast. I've never really been out of the state at the time. So very exciting, and so glad I started doing it. Not only for the money, but for the experience, to meet different people, different cultures, try different food. Um, yeah, don't regret it one bit. Definitely consider it. Like I said, if you're a new grad nurse and you don't have a pet and you don't have kids, and you're okay with like driving around or flying to a new state, just do it. Just just take the contract and do it. I mean, you can always come back home. You can always catch a flight right back home. So uh, that's kind of the goal of these videos. I want to push nurses into travel nursing. I want to get them out there and experience nursing and how it is around the country. So you never really know how good your conditions, good or bad your conditions are in your staff position until you experience a hospital that does it differently or more efficiently. And it really opens up your eyes and it grows you as a nurse. I mean, you will learn skills that you won't really learn working your staff job for 20 years. You'll learn how to adapt quicker, how to speak with docs better, how to deal with patients that are more difficult or different than you, stuff like that. So I hope I covered everything in here. I do want to go into more detail on like the investments and stuff like that. Like I'm a big numbers person, so I do have spreadsheets, but they start in, I believe, 2023. So like I can share, I'll share real numbers with you. I'll share like how much my contract was paying at the time each week, and how much of that money I put into investments, what I was investing in, how much money I lost, how much money I made. Because it's not always sunshine and rainbows. I mean, I've lost my ass a handful of times, but that doesn't stop me. I keep going, and I keep saving, and I keep trying for a breakthrough. So I'm looking forward to showing that data. And I do have, I'm checking it right now, and I'll share my screen on future videos to show how much I was saving and yada yada, all that stuff. So 2022, it looks like I started tracking every single penny I spent since May of 2022, and my spreadsheets have gotten increasingly more efficient and easier to read. So I apologize if some of these these old spreadsheets are kind of clanky. I mean, I just list everything. Um, but yeah, like for example, 2022, I was spending an average of like just eyeballing it, $4,000 a month. Now in 2026, 2025 to 2026, $7,500 a month. Now I did have, like I said, somebody who split rent with me back in 2022, so um, you could tack on an extra, I don't know, $1,500 to that $4,000 average in 2022. So like $5,500, you could say, that I was spending in 2022 on average as a solo. Um, and then in 2026, 75. What is that, like 2 grand more? Yeah, inflation is very real. And if you're not in hard assets or if you're not in the right investments, you're going to get the average yield with the S&P or an ETF or whatever financial advisor ETF, they're going to give you 7 to 10%. And I think life is getting more expensive than 7 to 10% every year just by looking at this. I mean, inflation alone. I mean, you might be matching inflation if you put your stuff into a passive yield S&P fund or give it to a financial advisor and they put it into a QQQ. So and that kind of leads into like what I'm putting my money into. I save as a travel nurse, we save very well, I would say. Very grateful to be able to save at all. And if you do it right, if you don't spend crazy amounts of money on flights and vacations and stuff like that, I don't really go anywhere. My job allows me to travel. I'll see, there's 50 states to see, there's countless number of cities here in the US. My travel is through my work, which I'm very grateful for. I can see the United States while working. So if you're able to, save everything that you can, travel nurses are in a very good position to, really, if done right, invest their money in good assets and make some good money for the future. So, um, yeah, hard assets. And I can share specifically what I'm putting my money. I plan on telling you guys what I'm putting my money in. So this first contract, I was just kind of all over the place, which is why I lost my ass. I was investing in whatever people told me online, basically silly stuff. Um, I did get into Bitcoin, got into Dogecoin, silly things, right? At the time, I thought they were very silly. Bitcoin has a little more legs now than it did back in 2020, but I was putting my money into just basically meme stocks and whatever people were pumping online, which is why I lost. And you'll see that in the future videos. I'll do my best to recall how much I lost, and I seem to do a pretty good job about keeping track of all of that. So, uh, and this is just to kind of, I want you guys to learn from my mistakes, and I also want you guys to see what's possible on a travel nurse income. Uh, I'm just out here doing the best I can. I want to share what's working, what's not, and hope you guys get something out of it. And I hope I inspire some people to start travel nursing. I'm in Portland, Maine right now. Seem to have gotten a one of the better contracts, I would say. Had search tele, 36 hours a week, day shift. I work every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Gross take home was close to 2,900 a week. So you don't see a lot of these out there. This contract was very fortunate to get it. Similar to my last contract in Honolulu, it paid roughly the same. The only difference with Honolulu was they had you rotate days and night shift, which was, I don't even know if it was worth it to be going back and forth like that every other week. So, um, yeah, saving, it looks like out here right now, not to get ahead of myself, but it looks like I'll be saving roughly $3,000 to $4,000 a month, probably right in between $3,500 a month out here. And I would say that's very good considering, I get really take care of myself. I eat high quality food. I eat out a lot. I'd never skip a coffee if I want one. I get, 2 massages a month. I get cups, cup therapy. I do float tanks. I work out at a luxury gym. So this is a good lifestyle, and at the same time I'm able to save that amount. So that's kind of where I'm at. Um, just to be transparent and help you guys understand the nature of travel nursing and what you can expect for a lifestyle and for saving. So that's really all I got right now. Looking forward to the next video. I believe that's going to be Houston, HCA Houston. Still with a travel partner at the time. Um, that contract was quite uneventful, but we'll get into it on the next video. Maybe I'll just do the next 2 contracts in line. So Houston, HCA, and then it was Cincinnati, St. Elizabeth, actually in Kentucky, but I lived in Cincinnati, and then it was Eau Claire, a Mayo Clinic in Eau Claire, Arizona, on and on. So um, we'll see. I'll make another video here soon, and hope you guys got something out of this.